Finesse2Tymes and FNG King. Where do I begin, man? How do we start this off? Because it's a lot of ups, downs, lefts, rights, miscommunication, miseducated parenting, exposure that's been going on here. So I'm really trying to put it all together here, because Finesse2Tymes is a 32-year-old man, and King is an 11 or 12-year-old boy. So we got a 32-year-old man that's been through a lot, prison time, in the streets. I don't know about his personal, relationship with his mother and his father. He just went through something. He was in a polygamy relationship. I'm not sure if he's still in a polygamy relationship. I'm not sure, but he was going through things with that as well. So it's a lot going on here. I want to start off like this, right? It's no manual on how to raise a child. I think we can all agree to this. It's no holy books. You cannot find a book that tells you this is exactly how you raise your child. Granted, King is not Finesse2Tymes' biological child, right? For those who don't know that's not his biological child. I believe he adopted him and I guess, made him into a rapper, or whatever the case may be, right? I believe King is like an adopted kid and he also raps. But I want to speak from an angel's advocate, right? I don't know how Finesse2Tymes was raised. I remember when my mother came back into my life, right? I actually sold drugs for my mother. I was selling drugs for my mother and I was 13. And I thought this was the right thing to do. I honestly thought me selling drugs for my mother was the right thing to do. I didn't look at it like it was a bad thing. I didn't look at it like she did anything wrong. I did not look at her like she was the worst person in the world. The only thing I wanted to do was be next to my mother. So while I'm selling drugs for my mother, she's teaching me the rules on how to sell drugs. I'm 13 years old. Excuse me, I'm a little stuffy. So, in the process of her teaching me how to sell drugs, this is my mother. I'm 13. My mother actually, my mother was 15 years old when I was born. When she had me, she was 15. So my mother actually has 15 years on me. She was a kid herself, but doing grown people things. And when I look at Finesse2Tymes, right? If Finesse2Tymes is 32 years old and King is 11, what's that? That's about 21 years, I believe. Now, again, This is not to say Finesse2Tymes is not old enough to know the right from wrong and know how to conduct himself. But like I said before, it's no manual on how to raise a child. So when my mother, I was selling drugs for my mother, and she was giving me the rules of engagement, what and what not to do, you know, and how to sell drugs and so on and so forth. At that age, although I was older than King, because King is either 11 or 12, at that age, I was 13. I felt like she's not doing anything wrong. And when you allow a kid to do certain things as an adult, of course you're going to feel like the parent or the guardian is not doing anything wrong. I'm making money. I'm the man in my town. At the time, I was living in a town called Williamsport. And Williamsport is a town where it's a lot of rich white people, but it's a lot of drug addicts as well. This is in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. And my mother was selling drugs out there. And I'm like, yo, listen, I'm getting money. 13 years old, I'm getting money. It was one time, my mother used to have me shooting dice in front of her and everything. I'll lose. She used to root me on, like, don't worry about it. We got money for days. This is what my mother used to do with me at 13. So I remember one time, my mother, I went to go buy a couple ounces of weed. And I thought that I was doing something right. Now, mind you, at the time, I was selling crack for my mother. When I bought the ounces of weed, I went to go tell my mother, like, yo, Mom, look at me. Like, she punched me in my face, gave me my money back for the weed, and gave the weed back. And now I'm like, what did I do wrong? Until this day, my mother passed away. She passed away from a drug overdose. But till this day, I was confused. So I say that to say this. When I'm looking at King, I look at myself. Because King was exposed to a lot. And this doesn't say that Finesse2Tymes is a bad person. He was a bad guardian. I'm just saying he was exposed to a lot. And some people feel like, I'd rather you learn this from me than to learn this from somewhere else. He was shooting dice. People were smoking weed. People gambling. I'm sure sex was around. I'm sure it was drugs. They say they got pictures of him with pills in his mouth. Guns. You cannot expect. So King was telling, I guess he started telling the world that Finesse2Tymes ran off with the plug, ran off on the plug. He did something with the jewelry. He also did a lot of other things. And people are actually calling King a rat or a rat in the makings, right? If adults be ratting and be telling, when they are exposed to violence and crimes and so on and so forth, what makes you think an 11, 12-year-old kid is not going to do the same thing? I'm going to say that again. If you got adults, 21, 31, 41, 51-year-olds, that's telling on crimes that were committed, what makes you think that this 11, 12-year-old is not going to do the same thing? Now, people say, well, at 11, 12 years old, you know what you're doing. You know right from wrong. I agree. At 11, 12 years old, I agree that a lot of kids know right from wrong. But the question is, it's not that you know right from wrong. The question is, can you control your emotions from doing right from wrong? Oh my God, I'm going to say it again. And this is why you can see kids doing adult things. They're having sex, they're selling drugs, they're shooting guns, they're fighting, they're arguing, they're talking like adults. They're doing a lot of things. They're probably paying some bills here and there. But the question still remains. Yes, a kid that's 11, 12 years old know right from wrong, but can a kid that's 11, 12 years old control their emotions from doing right from wrong? That's the question. So when you look at this kid that's 11, 12 years old, and you're saying to yourself, yeah, he knows right from wrong, he's a rat in the makings, he's emotional, he's a kid. What you think he's going to do? He's going to play the kid. He's showing his true colors now. He's showing his true colors. So do you fault him? No. I don't fault him. I don't. You know better, yes. But you were allowed to get away with a lot of things. If you tell a kid, eat all the candy you want, eat all the snacks you want, you think they're going to tell you no because it's not good for you? If you tell a kid, if you tell a boy, 11, 12 years old, I'm going to leave an older girl in the room, she's going to probably try to do things. Tell her no. You think the boy going to say, okay, I'm going to tell her no? Like, we gotta make it make sense here. Again, I'm not saying he doesn't know right from wrong. What I'm saying is this. Do you expect 11, 12-year-old kid to control his or her emotions to stop them from doing right from wrong? This is not just a learned behavior. This is a taught behavior. This is not just a learned behavior. This is a taught behavior. So when we're looking at King, and another thing about King that I notice and I actually admire, he can articulate himself very well. That kid needs to be in front of a camera. That kid is a star. Again, I'm looking at things from an angel's perspective. I'm looking at things from an angel's advocate. I don't like to play devil's advocate. I like to play angel's advocate. And from an angel's advocate, he's a star. From an angel's advocate, he's very smart. He's very intelligent. Did you hear the way this kid was speaking? I agree. He needs to be in school. I agree totally. And he also need to be perfecting his talent. Because the way the kid was talking and articulating himself, you would think he was older than 11, 12 years old. He also need to be taught a lesson. And the lesson is this. Although you learned these behaviors, you were taught these behaviors, the world doesn't care about what you've been through, King. You are looked at as a potential rat or grooming. You're looked at as being groomed as a potential rat, or you are a rat. I don't look at you like that. So let me teach you a lesson. A lot of people feel like you are old enough. A lot of people are looking at it like you're old enough to understand what's going on. A lot of people are looking at it like you know right from wrong. A lot of people are looking at it like you're wrong. And I'm going to say this. You don't want to be on the other side. In my eyes, you get a pass. In my eyes, you can't control your emotions because you're a kid. I'm not looking at King, 11, 12 years old, to have emotional intelligence. I don't care how he talks. I don't care how he moves. I don't care how he operates. This was learned and taught behaviors. I'm not looking at this 11, 12-year-old kid as if he should have emotional intelligence. But you have an opportunity not to get on that other side. You have been exposed to a lot, but you don't have to be involved. The minute you put yourself on that other side, you're going to find yourself by yourself trying to pick yourself up, King. It is not worth it. You are 11. This kid, for any adult, for anybody that feels like he should be accountable, how? 11, 12-year-old kids particularly know right from wrong. The thing is, can they control their emotions from doing right from wrong? You put a kid in a room full of candy. They're going to eat it and keep eating it and keep eating it. They know it's wrong. They know that eating candy is not good for you. But they do it because they can't control their emotions. If you tell a kid not to do something that they want to do, you know what? Play your video games all day. Go ahead. You think they're going to say, "Mom, Dad, it's not right for me to play my video games all day. Why do you want me to play video games all day?" You know what? I'm going to do the right thing and don't play my video games all day. Don't let this be your story, King. Go out there. Somebody get next to King and help him perfect his craft. Help him get out there and be a star. He don't have to be a star in this way. I'm playing Angel's Advocate. This kid is intelligent. This kid is smart. This kid is talented. He's been exposed by adults. Yes, he's got to take accountability from knowing right from wrong. But we as adults have to understand that his emotional intelligence, he doesn't have emotional intelligence. He actually displayed his actual age when speaking about everything that took place. And why adults are out here snitching, ratting, telling, Why do we expect this 11, 12-year-old not to do the same thing? Somebody get a hold of King and let him know that he's loved. He doesn't have to live this life. He's talented. He's gifted. He could be a star. And he can also save a lot of kids that's just like him. Because as he get older, he's going to get more intelligent. He's going to get more smart. And he's going to be able to save a lot of kids his age. Because the documentation is there. The documentation is right there. This was me when I was 11, 12 years old. That man said that young kid said he was exposed to being chased by police while he was in a car. And everything else. Now, Finesse2Tymes. You do got some explaining to do, sir. I'm still going to approach this as an angel's advocate. But you got some explaining to do. Because as the adult, you expose that little kid. Yes, you tried to help him. And this is why I'm approaching it with an angel's advocate approach. You tried to help him. For sure. But you exposed him to a lot. And you allowed him to be free. Now, do that make you a bad person? No. Because we don't know how you were raised. We don't know what you've been through. We don't know what you're going through. But I do want to say this. Thank you for trying. You're going to take accountability, but thank you for trying. Because it's a lot of people that don't try at all. It's a lot of biological fathers that don't try at all. Don't even do the bare minimum. So I want to say thank you for that. We don't know what you've been through as a kid. We don't know how you were raised. We know you've been in prison. We know you've been through a lot, but we don't know how you were raised as a kid. Now, I want to say this. You got to take accountability for exposing this kid to a lot. And that going back and forth with the 11, 12-year-old is nasty work. It makes you look even worse. Like your shortcomings are your shortcomings. But going back and forth with an 11, 12-year-old that you took on the responsibility for is crazy to me. Going back and forth with the 11, 12-year-old like you're his age is complete nasty work. And you're one of the reasons why young kids look up to people like y'all and start doing the same things that y'all are doing. You got to step up to the plate and take accountability for your actions. Like, we commend you for trying. We do. We commend you for stepping up. Whatever, we commend you for trying to change this kid life around. But you got to take accountability, because when he posted that phone conversation of the text messages and the voice messages, and you're talking to this little kid as if he's your age, is wild. You got some explaining to do, bro. Like, going back and forth like, oh, and I got this on you and I got that on you and this, that, and the third. What? You don't, that's nasty. So I hope you step up like a man. I'm not saying everything. I don't know if everything is true. Drugs, he had pills in his mouth, and y'all know how I feel about drug addiction and mental health. I'm almost 7 years sober. I'm not playing that shit. Because it's a lot of kids out here that are on pills, smoking weed, drinking lean. 11, 12, 13 years old. Drug addiction, drug overdoses killing people way more than gun violence. Killing our people more than gun violence. But when it comes down to drug addiction, I don't care about race. I don't care about none of that. We got to get to the bottom of this, Finesse2Tymes. Again, we appreciate you for stepping up. We appreciate you for trying. But you got to take accountability for all of this, because you are the adult. Man, follow me on B McFly, Instagram, b.mcfly_. I have 146,000 followers. I got people like Steph Curry following me, Damian Lillard follow me. I do a lot in the communities, man. I'm here to help save lives from gun violence, drug addiction, speaking and bring awareness on mental health. Please subscribe to my channel. You know what I'm saying? This is layman's terms. We speaking from layman's terms. I'm not here to talk down on nobody. I'm not here to, expose anyone to act like I'm better than someone, because we all have troubles. We all have shortcomings. We all have imperfections that we need to work on. And I tell people all the time, right? Stop relying on your strengths and strengthen your weaknesses. This is what we got to do. It takes a village to raise. We don't want this kid to be out there, and as he get older, it's like we're looking at this kid like he's the full blame, because he's not. And I don't want to look at Finesse2Tymes like he's the full blame. What I'm saying is he has to take accountability, because he is the adult. Let's save a life, man. B McFly, the top motivator in the world, and your sober messenger. Get in tune, get activated. Let's go.